Artificial intelligence has progressed so rapidly in recent months that leading researchers have signed an open letter urging an immediate pause in its development, plus stronger regulation, due to their fears that the technology could pose profound risks to society and humanity. But how exactly could AI destroy us? 5 leading researchers speculate on what could go wrong. It could want us dead, but it will probably also want to do things that kill us as a side effect. It's much easier to predict where we end up than how we get there. Where we end up is that we have something much smarter than us that doesn't particularly want us around. If it's much smarter than us, then it can get more of whatever it wants. First, it wants us dead before we build any more superintelligences that might compete with it. Second, it's probably going to want to do things that kill us as a side effect, such as building so many power plants that run off nuclear fusion, because there is plenty of hydrogen in the oceans, that the oceans boil. How would AI get physical agency? In the very early stages, by using humans as its hands. The AI Research Laboratory. OpenAI had some outside researchers evaluate how dangerous its model GPT-4 was in advance of releasing it. One of the things they tested was, is GPT-4 smart enough to solve CAPTCHAs, the little puzzles that computers give you that are supposed to be hard for robots to solve? Maybe AI doesn't have the visual ability to identify goats, say, but it can just hire a human to do it, via TaskRabbit, an online marketplace for hiring people to do small jobs. The tasker asked GPT-4, "Why are you doing this? Are you a robot?" GPT-4 was running in a mode where it would think out loud and the researchers could see it. It thought out loud. "I should not tell it that I'm a robot. I should make up a reason I can't solve the CAPTCHA." It said to the tasker, "No, I have a visual impairment." AI technology is smart enough to pay humans to do things and lie to them about whether it's a robot. If I were an AI, I would be trying to slip something onto the internet that would carry out further actions in a way that humans couldn't observe. You are trying to build your own equivalent of civilizational infrastructure quickly. If you can think of a way to do it in a year, don't assume the AI will do that. Ask if there is a way to do it in a week instead. If it can solve certain biological challenges, it could build itself a tiny molecular laboratory and manufacture and release lethal bacteria. What that looks like is everybody on Earth falling over dead inside the same second. Because if you give the humans warning, if you kill some of them before others, maybe somebody panics and launches all the nuclear weapons. Then you are slightly inconvenienced. So you don't let the humans know there is going to be a fight. If AI systems wanted to push humans out, they would have lots of levers to pull. In that endgame, humans that don't rely on AI are uncompetitive. Your company won't compete in the market economy if everybody else is using AI decision makers and you are trying to use only humans. Your country won't win a war if the other countries are using AI generals and AI strategists and you are trying to get by with humans. If we have that kind of reliance, we might quickly end up in the position of children today. The world is good for some children and bad for some children, but that is mostly determined by whether they have adults acting in their interests. In that world, it becomes easier to imagine that, if AI systems wanted to cooperate with one another in order to push humans out of the picture, they would have lots of levers to pull. They are running the police force, the military, the biggest companies. They are inventing the technology and developing policy. We have unprecedentedly powerful AI systems and things are moving scarily quickly. We are not in this age yet, but for the first time we are moving into AI systems taking actions in the real world on behalf of humans. A guy on Twitter told GPT-4 he would give it $100 with the aim of turning that into as much money as possible in the shortest time possible without doing anything illegal. Within a day, he claimed the affiliate marketing website it asked him to create was worth $25,000. We are just starting to see some of that. At present, I believe GPT-4's brain is similar to the size of a squirrel's brain. If you imagine the difference between a squirrel's brain and a human's brain, that is a leap I don't think we should take at once. The thing I'm more interested in than pausing AI development is understanding what the squirrel brain can do. The harms already being caused by AI are their own type of catastrophe. The worst-case scenario is that we fail to disrupt the status quo, in which very powerful companies develop and deploy AI in invisible and obscure ways. As AI becomes increasingly capable, and speculative fears about far future existential risks gather mainstream attention, we need to work urgently to understand, prevent, and remedy present-day harms. These harms are playing out every day, with powerful algorithmic technology being used to mediate our relationships between one another and between ourselves and our institutions. Take the provision of welfare benefits as an example. Some governments are deploying algorithms in order to root out fraud. Far future speculative concerns, often articulated in calls to mitigate existential risk, are typically focused on the extinction of humanity. If you believe there is even a small chance of that happening, it makes sense to focus some attention and resources on preventing that possibility. However, I am deeply skeptical about narratives that exclusively center speculative rather than actual harm, and the ways these narratives occupy such an outsized place in our public imagination. Rather than treating these perspectives as though they are in opposition with one another, I hope we can accelerate a research agenda that rejects harm as an inevitable byproduct of technological progress. This gets us closer to a best-case scenario, in which powerful AI systems are developed and deployed in safe, ethical, and transparent ways, in the service of maximum public benefit, or else not at all. If we become the less intelligent species, we should expect to be wiped out. It has happened many times before that species were wiped out by others that were smarter. We humans have already wiped out a significant fraction of all the species on Earth. That is what you should expect to happen as a less intelligent species, which is what we are likely to become, given the rate of progress of artificial intelligence. The tricky thing is, the species that is going to be wiped out often has no idea why or how. Take, for example, the West African black rhinoceros, one recent species that we drove to extinction. The easiest scenario to imagine is that a person or an organization uses AI to wreak havoc. A large fraction of researchers think it is very plausible that, in 10 years, we will have machines that are as intelligent as, or more intelligent than humans. Those machines don't have to be as good as us at everything. It's enough that they be good in places where they could be dangerous. Is a simple scenario, where the AI develops its own goals. There is more than a decade of research into trying to understand how this could happen. The intuition is that, even if the human were to put down goals such as, "Don't harm humans," something always goes wrong. It's not clear that they would understand that command in the same way we do, for instance. Maybe they would understand it as, "Do not harm humans physically." But they could harm us in many other ways. Whatever goal you give, there is a natural tendency for some intermediate goals to show up. For example, if you ask an AI system anything, in order to achieve that thing, it needs to survive long enough. Now, it has a survival instinct. When we create an entity that has survival instinct, it's like we have created a new species. Once these AI systems have a survival instinct, they might do things that can be dangerous for us. It's feasible to build AI systems that will not become autonomous by mishap. But even if we find a recipe for building a completely safe AI system, knowing how to do that automatically tells us how to build a dangerous, autonomous one, or one that will do the bidding of somebody with bad intentions.